All right, we're always grateful when the White House makes time for us, and it has been a very, very busy time for them. It's never not a busy time for the White House, but Harrison Fields is back with us. He's Special Assistant to the President and Principal Deputy Press Secretary there at the White House. Harrison, I'm glad you could make time for us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Passions are getting high out there. I've been taking calls from listeners this morning. As you can imagine, people are all over the map on their feelings about the big, beautiful bill and Elon's comments yesterday. I know Caroline's addressed them. I know that President Trump and Elon Musk don't have a lot of daylight between them. They may disagree here and there, but they're friends. It ended amicably on Friday. But I have noticed in my own audience, I'm just giving you what I've observed. There are people that believe what Elon has said about this big, beautiful bill is 100% correct, and that more should be done to aggressively cut. There are people that believe Elon is not being forthright, and there's stuff in this bill that gores his ox, so to speak, hurts his business, and that's why he's mad at it. There are people who have called the show and said Trump is not serious about real spending cuts. And there are people that have called and said Trump knows the game here. He knows what has to get done. Trust Trump. So that's a lot of positions, Harrison. What's the official White House position?
The official position is that this is a historic bill. This is going to usher in the largest tax cut in American history. It's going to make President Trump's tax cuts the first time permanent, preventing the largest tax increase ever. It's going to give American taxpayers a raise. It's going to bring an increase to their take-home pay. We're going to secure that border because this bill is going to finish the wall. And to the concerns about spending, this bill actually reverses the spending curse that is plaguing this town to the tune of $1.6 trillion in mandatory savings, which is the largest single reduction in mandatory spending. Not to mention, you have an increase in the child tax credit. You have protections for Medicaid. We are getting 1.4 million illegal immigrants off the program. We're eliminating the Green New Scam. We're reversing the EV mandate. I don't know how much more I can say. This is Republican policy in one big, beautiful bill. And I caution people who may want to come out and say, well, this isn't everything. Well, this is Washington, and perfect cannot be the enemy of good. And this is about as good as a bill can get when we've got the margins that we have, when we have, a president who's willing to stuff it all into this amazing bill, not to mention no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, largest tax cuts for seniors.
You speak for the White House, not Elon Musk, so I'm mindful of that when I ask you this. Then why does the guy who created the Department of Government Efficiency and has been Donald Trump's friend and at his side for 5 months, why does he hate it so much?
Well, I appreciate you entering the question, acknowledging the fact that I don't speak for him. And he's a private citizen now. And one thing that's very clear, he's a CEO of many, many businesses, some of which could potentially be impacted by this bill. Elon Musk is focused on being proper steward of our American taxpayer dollars. But you know who else is? Most importantly, the President of the United States. And this is why he wants this bill to get done. This is why he allowed DOGE to be created, and we are yielding massive savings to the tune of $175 billion in cuts already. And then, Chris, you were following the news yesterday, and a lot of your viewers were. We just sent a rescissions package to Capitol Hill to the tune of $9.4 billion in spending cuts, codifying a lot of the things that Elon Musk, the president, and DOGE were able to do. So this bill is one step in the right direction to get a hold of our fiscal house. We have more work to do. The president has always acknowledged that, but we cannot hold up a good bill. We cannot hold up tax cuts for American families for the sake of trying to get this bill to the way anyone, especially someone like Rand Paul, wants it to be. This is a good bill. Every Republican should be supporting it.
Harrison Fields is Special Assistant to the President, Principal Deputy Press Secretary at the White House. Just want to clarify, did I hear you correctly that you believe Elon may have problems with this because there are things in it that actually impact his business negatively, and that might be why he's chirping so loudly about it?
Well, all you have to do is go on Tesla's X page, and they have come out against the bill for their particular reasons. So I'll let those words, speak for themselves. From the White House perspective, we would love everyone to support it. And if you actually go on White House House.gov, you can see all the endorsements. You can see the chambers of commerce that are endorsing this bill, Verizon endorsing this bill, Uber endorsing this bill. So we have a lot of American companies that are supportive of this bill because they understand what this is going to do for the economy and for their employees. The American people voted for this. This was on the signs at Trump rallies. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, secure the wall, secure the border. All of these weren't just campaign slogans. These were campaign promises that the president wants to deliver. The Republican Party, all of the members, any stakeholder that ran to the nearest Trump rally in their district who supported these signs, well, this sign has become a bill. Now you vote for it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene said something to the effect of, had she seen the provision written in this bill about AI specifically and the federal government putting a moratorium for 10 years on anybody trying to regulate AI outside of the federal government, meaning states and municipalities, she said had she seen that, she would not have supported this bill. Your reaction to that?
My reaction to any criticism of the bill is that the House rules provided the ability for members and their staffs to comb through page by page of the bill. There was an amendment process. There was a committee process in which anyone who had objections, some people did, they had a chance to vote on these objections and a chance to change the bill.
May I ask on that point, Harrison? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is an interesting point because I maintain in 2025 with the technology we have, is there any reason anyone should ever say again, I didn't know what was in the bill?
No, not at all. I mean, and we're doing this in good faith. You had the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi who said we have to pass the bill to see what's in it. That's not our perspective. We gave every member of the House an opportunity to see and debate this bill. The Senate is doing that now. So this has been a very transparent process. Members from all over the caucus have been to the White House on multiple occasions. Senior staffers are talking to members every single day about the bill. So there should be no surprises in this bill. If there are, there's a lot of technology to go out and check page by page how to, look into things.
Right.
But the bill where it stands, it's strong.
Could I ask you, Harrison, about the Senate? Can they improve it, do you believe? Here's a theory. Elon's putting pressure on Republicans and that maybe the Senate can actually crank up the heat and make it an even better bill. Is that possible?
Anything is possible in Washington, D.C., and the one thing you have is a president that's willing to negotiate. But he has been very clear. He likes this bill the way it is, and we would prefer Senate passage immediately so that we can get these priorities signed, sealed, and delivered to the president so we can move on, so we can send more rescissions packages, so we can continue the work of the American people. We only have the House and the Senate for 2 years. We have to make sure we get this right when we do it. The Democrats don't do this. They walk in lockstep, they pass the agenda, and they move on. A lot of it is destructive, and we understand that. But we have to seize the opportunity. This president is in the driver's seat leading his campaign promises into law. The American people, 77+ million of them, voted for this Trump agenda. Every Republican should be voting for it.
The rescissions. This is an interesting thing because for people that have wanted to see meaningful DOGE cuts, the rescissions are where it's at. That's how this gets done. $9.8 billion sent over, and it's now on the House's lap, and they've got something like 45 days to get it done. That would be the first of many. I assume that's not it. You guys could continue to offer, that is, President Trump could continue to offer rescissions. It's not just this $9 billion, right? There's more to come?
There's got to be more to come. And this is the lowest of the hanging fruit. This is funding for NPR, CBS, woke initiatives that we were able to just put together, $9.4 billion, send it to the House. There's no disagreement on this rescissions package. This will be one of the first rescissions packages ever passed out of either chamber of the House, and that's codifying immediate spending cuts. So we've got a bill that's going to cut $1.6 trillion. We've got a rescissions bill that's going to do 1.8, or 9.8, 9.4, whatever the number is. So this is just in less than 200 days on the job. So we are tackling spending right away. And then the other thing we have to talk about is the president's tariff policies, which is bringing record revenue into the country. We're looking at continued deregulation. You're looking at the unleashing of American energy, all of these things together, and then the investments, $10 trillion of investment commitments into the country. This economy is ready to roar. We need one big, beautiful bill passed so that we can accelerate that.
The Washington Times reports that the United States is urging countries to make their best offers for trade deals before the July tariff deadline. And we know that President Trump yesterday doubled tariffs on steel and aluminum. This led a group called the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development to cut sharply their forecast for U.S. economic growth due to these higher tariffs. Your reaction to all of that?
Yeah, a lot of these groups, they're burning through paper because one day they say the economy is doomed, and then a week later they say, actually, the economy is going to be just fine. So I caution anyone who's going to say that the economy is going to tank for any number of issues. They try to do this game when President Trump tried to push through his tariff agenda and tax cut agenda in his first term. We saw inflation was about 1.4%, basically zero. The economy was roaring, and then Joe Biden got in and completely destroyed it. So we know that Trump policies work. This is why investment is pouring into this country. The CBO has been historically wrong, yet they continue to have jobs. Most of them are all Democrats. So all these analyses, they're just numbers crashing on a paper. We know the numbers. We know it works. We have proof from Trump 1.0. This is going to be the resurgence of Trump 1.0, and now in a second iteration of it. This is common sense stuff. The president is a businessman. He knows how to get this economy roaring again.
So with about 30 seconds, Harrison, bottom line, for people that would say Donald Trump has really never cared much about spending. He just wants to get stuff done, but if it costs a lot of money and you have to spend it, so be it. Is that a fair or unfair characterization? Does Donald Trump care about the fact that we're $36 trillion in debt?
He does care, and this is one of the reasons why he got elected, because the American people trusted that he would take care of that. And if you look at this one big, beautiful bill, it is one big, beautiful step in the right direction to start getting a hold of our spending crisis. This bill does cut spending. I don't care what anyone says, it does. The first time we've been able to do such a measure in over 30 years. And Chris, guess what? That's older than I am. So we have an opportunity to do something historic here. This is one step in the right direction. The president is president for 4 years. The work will continue, but we've got to get this big step going.
He is the special assistant to the president and deputy press secretary, Harrison Fields, there at the White House this morning. Harrison, thanks very much for coming into the arena, taking the questions, my man.
Always a pleasure, sir.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.